So that was quite the introduction. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how we came to the current ad campaign that we have on air, and walk you through what we think of the campaign, how we think it's performing, how we measure success, and how we actually develop the creative that's out there now. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Rockland Trust Bank, we're a regional bank located, our corporate headquarters is in Hanover, but we're mostly along the south coast up through north of Boston, and then west of out to Worcester. We just opened a Worcester office this year. We're about $11.6 billion in assets. And we're a full service bank, so we have everything from commercial lending to consumer lending and deposits, as well as investment group. We also have 98 branches, so almost 100 branches across Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So as we think about our company, one of the things that we've spent a lot of time on is really understanding who we are as a brand. And we've gone back and forth because there have been points along the last 5 years or so where we've said, is relationships really still important today? And is that really who we want to be as a brand? And we talked to our customers, we talked to colleagues internally, and we said, maybe we need to change this. Maybe it's more about technology or more about doing things really easy. And we were surprised to find that people violently got really upset over that, both our customers and our colleagues, and said, no, relationships are still important today. They may shift, they may change as technology changes, but the fact that we're known to have great relationships means something, and we don't want to let go of that. So we had a campaign that was actually performing well in the market, but we realized we needed to evolve it. So what we did is we decided to focus on relationships again, but evolve the current positioning. So how do we evolve the positioning to talk about relationships in the context of people evolving? And how do we showcase the fact that even though we're about relationships and we have people that you can talk to, whether it's on the phone or in the branch, we also have great technology. We have technology that makes it easy for you to do your banking, but also can form a relationship with you in a different way. So that was our challenge ahead of us. And I'm happy to say, I'll give you the punchline now, that our new campaign is delivering even better than we expected. I'll walk you through what I mean by that, but first I'll show you the new ads so you can be familiar with them. So this is the consumer ad.
This was the moment in our relationship when the years of planning together finally paid off. We'd always known where we wanted to go. Getting there was another story. With so many possibilities and questions, we needed advice we could trust, and it felt good to talk with someone who asked about more than our finances. For the first time, we started to see ourselves in all the places we'd imagined. Rockland Trust Bank, where each relationship matters.
So that's the consumer ad, and I'm going to walk you through a couple changes that we made along the way to make this more effective. And we found out how to make it more effective through testing. But first I'm going to show you the business ad. So we normally focus on consumer because that's the thing that brings people in the door, and our commercial lenders are able to go out and talk to people. But we actually found that our business ad performed better than our consumer ad. And actually is working just as hard for us out in the market. So let me play that for you.
This was it. The moment my dad and I knew I was ready to take over the family business, where my plans for its future started to become real. This was for them. The people who believed in me every step of the way. I like to dream big. It's nice to have someone who can help make those dreams a reality. Rockland Trust Bank, where each relationship matters.
So those are the two ads that are playing, and we actually have an integrated strategy. So all of the creative works off of this idea of where each relationship matters, but also that we can help you with whatever your dreams are, whether you're an older couple getting ready for retirement, a younger person just starting out and needing to save, or a business. Succession planning is a very big issue right now with small business owners as they think about aging and handing the business either off to someone in their family or selling it. And so what we did is we said, how can we really bring emotion into these moments? Because we know they're highly charged for people. All of the creative is integrated so that people can reinforce what they've seen on TV by seeing the creative, and that the message is consistent. We did a downtown tea station takeover, and we found that that was extremely successful at just creating buzz for the brand. So that was a great way to kind of kick off the campaign right before the TV spots hit the air. So how do we know this is working? Well, we measure success in a few different ways. We don't rely on just one methodology. The first thing is we do have brand tracking. So on a yearly basis, we do tracking with Phoenix, and we get information on what's happening in the market with our brand. And this year, we just got our results back. Brand impression and consideration increased significantly, so that was great to hear. But what was even better to hear was that for us, across all of the competitors that we track in the state, we lead all of our competitors in terms of impression and consideration for consumer, and are at the top for business as well. So now we know not only are the ads helping form the impression that we want people to feel when they hear about the brand, but when asked if they'd consider Rockland Trust, we saw significant increases across the board. And actually, many brands went down this year because it is getting more and more competitive in this market. So that was one element that we looked at and said, well, that means something's working well. But let's dig in a little bit more. So what the other thing we did as part of our brand tracking is we get feedback on our ads. And the feedback we got was exactly what we wanted to hear. We wanted to hear things like, this is a bank that cares about me, not just the deposits I'm bringing in or my business. This is a bank that knows that I'm an individual and treats me differently because of that. As a business owner, this is a bank that really understands my needs and creates opportunities for me to talk to people when I need to. So what we were really happy to hear is that the feedback really parroted back the main message that we wanted to showcase in our ads. The idea that for us, we still believe relationships matter. And we're a bank that can create those relationships for people. Our business ad significantly outperformed all of the competitive ads. So we also look at testing results against competitors. It outperformed on all of these attributes that you see up here and was on par with relevant message. So we were really happy to see that not only did the consumer ad perform well and outperform competitors on key attributes, but the business ad did as well. But we said to ourselves, is this enough? What else do we know about this ad campaign and the messages that we're putting out there? What about what people don't say? There's been a lot of talk out there around brand tracking and asking people what they think of ads. Because people a lot of times, as you all have found through your careers, tell you what they think you want to hear. Or they tell you all the things you're doing wrong. But it's really hard to get an honest reaction from people. So one of the things that we did this year is we embarked on a study with Nielsen, and we did multiple rounds of testing on our ads. And what this allowed us to do is go a step further from what people are actually telling us to what's happening in their brain when they're watching the ad. Now, it's a lot of neuroscience, and I don't understand all of the methodology, but what I do know is that it gave us a lot of data to look at. Second by second, we were able to not only understand how people's facial reactions were occurring as they were watching the ad, but what was happening in their brains, what parts of the brains were being triggered when they were watching the ad, what they said when they wrote back feedback, and then where their eyes were going, which tells you a lot for those of you that have done a lot of user experience testing with customers. Being able to watch what happens with their eyes tells you a lot about their attention and how focused they are on what's in front of them. So this allowed us to really use this methodology in a meaningful way. And we actually made quite a few changes based on the feedback we got from the neuroscience testing. So this is actually what it looks like. So yes, they actually do put a cap on somebody's head, and they get all of that feedback as they're watching the ad. That allows us to really understand what's happening. And once we were done revising the ads, these are some of the results. We got hundreds of pages of results, but this is just a small snapshot. That our message was very strong. It was coming through, and that our brand was coming through, which was very important to us because we do have low unaided awareness when compared to some of our larger competitors in the market. So this was really something that we were excited about. Now, the other thing that I will say is as we were going through, like I mentioned, we did do some edits based on initial testing. So this wasn't the testing results that we got the first time around. And one example of that is we heard that we needed to connect more emotionally with our audience. So we did a few things. One is we showed a lot more of people's faces in the ad as the ad was playing, because that allowed people to connect more with who the people were in the ad and the story that was being told. We also had some other things going on in the background. We wanted to show that we're for young people, so we had a millennial couple as part of the cafe setting. And some of the feedback we heard is that's confusing, I don't understand what's going on, and you're getting in the way of the story you're trying to tell. So we took that out. Another example was the fact that, if you noticed, both ads are from the people's point of view. So rather than as a brand, us preaching to people and telling you all about who we are, what we did is we put it from the people's perspective, how Rockland Trust has helped them. And what it allowed us to do, because we've tested before testimonials, a lot of people don't believe testimonials. They think they're actors, everybody that can't feel that way. So by doing this, it allowed us to have a sort of testimonial, but also create a story within it that was believable. So great, we know the creative's working. We have brand tracking results that show the brand is working. We have ad testing results, and we have the neuroscience lab results that tell us these ads are impactful when people see them. So what about our business? How is it affecting the business? Because at the end of the day, that's what's going to really matter. Well, one of the things we found was we started getting emails from colleagues for the first time where they were saying people are coming in and saying they saw the ad or reaching out to us and wanting to talk to us just because they saw the ad. Now, to be fair, we don't have thousands of people knocking down our doors for this, but the fact that it even happens at all is pretty rare. And so we got emails like this from colleagues telling us, we're having people talk to us about the ads. And in fact, I had a phone call with our customer experience working committee internally where we just talk about customer feedback. And we had a district manager say, I just can't believe how many people walk into our branches and talk about how great the ads are. We've never had this before. So it's great to hear that people are responding in a positive manner. We also realized we really need to measure business. We really want to know, is this driving sales? Is this helping the business be more successful? So what we did is we use an attribution model. It goes a step beyond what many of you may be familiar with marketing mix. And it's actually an agent-based model. So it does a lot of different things, but it basically simulates a real market. It tries to understand, based on what's happening in social, what's happening with your brand, what's happening in the competitive market, what your ads and what your media is doing across the board. And as many of you know that have ever done media mix, it's not directly tracked, so it's not matching names to accounts. It's actually looking at true attribution. So this model thinks about it in terms of a journey. And it uses the entire customer journey to say, how are each of the media channels that you're currently using impacting business? And it takes into account, so we also give this model our creative testing and say, this is how good they're telling us it is in the market, and this is how well our competitive creative works. And they can actually put all that into the market and say, okay, across the journey, from somebody starting out and searching for your brand all the way to the day that they sign up for an account, here's how the media that you're using and the creative that you're using out there is working for you. So the good news is, as we look at this, we actually saw a better return, and we measure return by net present value. So we go further than ROI all the way to net present value of the accounts that we're driving from marketing. And we were able to see that based on a flat budget with new creative and a better media mix, we were able to drive higher net present value for the company. Now this is only through first half because obviously we're not done with 2019 yet. But we're seeing a similar trajectory now in terms of overall business, so we don't expect this to change. So based on that, we can conclude that this was a successful campaign. And what was really important to us was that not only were we able to claim success for these ads based on the fact that we have all these methodologies to track, but that relationships really do still matter to people. And that when we ask customers and consumers and business owners and commercial business owners whether or not it matters to them that a bank is out there with this message, we heard a resounding yes. I'd be more likely to consider your bank, and we're seeing from our business results that they are. So I just want to take a moment and thank our partners. I know many of you are out here. This was a lot of work. It took us about 12 months to get through everything because we did do several revisions along the way. But we're really excited about the results and really happy with what we've seen.